Hey guys, Alucard here, also known as Reddit's favorite demon. And I'd like to take the time to respond a little bit to a video from Sledge where he talks about the state of the game and he believes it's the worst patch ever, and I believe it's the best patch ever. It really isn't just about the win rate, and I hope I'm able to make that clear. Anyways, here's what I have to say. And I thought I would talk a little bit about the state of the game after the 2013 patch, and I wanted to kind of respond. I saw Sledge's video, I did listen to it, I did watch it, about his point of view about the balancing, and since I feel like I was indirectly mentioned as a, statistic in that video, he didn't directly name me, but I feel like I was referred to because it sounded like stuff I said. I wanted to be able to respond to that and talk about how I feel about the balancing of the game. Now, obviously I'm biased. Obviously I play Demon 99% of the time, but I have played duo queue at least off stream with someone else on someone else's stream, and I have played Survivor with a team that people that we didn't often play, like me, Sohinki, Base God Ace, and Hannah, Han Rose Dav, all played on her stream together. And I think Sohinki was streaming it too, and we played a bunch of games together during the Kandar update as Survivor. Me and Sohinki never play Survivor, we're Demon mains. Hannah hadn't played in like a month or something, although Ace is a very good Survivor. And you know what? We won like 90% of our games. And also, we went against a really good demon who had put at my level, called For the Pride TTV. And we almost won that game, when we did not deserve to win that game at all. And you know why that happened? Well, it had to do because the state of the game was not healthy in Kandar, and one of the big factors was objective locations. Objective locations, in that game particularly, the second blue objective was right next to the dark ones. And because you can get banished like 500, 600 plus meters, 800 meters sometimes away from the most recent objective, what happened was he got banished so far that we were able to finish the entire dark ones phase, and he got to the book. And then he almost lost in the book. He won because we're inexperienced, not that good, and he's a better player. But the point is, it was that close, and it did not even deserve to be. Like, we didn't deserve to get that close. And that's what I wanted to address about what Sledge was saying about how the 1% high-level demons are not happy they're only winning 99% of the games instead of 100%. First of all, I said before, and I wasn't disingenuous when I said it at least, when it comes to winning and losing, yes, I hate losing. Losing sucks. You feel bad, people laugh at you, whatever. They click their flashlights at you, it sucks. But losing is losing. If it feels like it's my fault, I did something wrong, I could have played better, and it, wasn't an impossibly hard task that they had to throw the game, sure. It's my fault. I don't mind that. The problem is that 99% of the time, I'm playing players that don't know what they're doing, okay? They have no idea what they're doing. So even in the Kandar update, even if you gave the survivors rocket launchers, I'd probably manage to win a good amount of those games, and you would think the game's balanced. You know what I mean? If you went by just the win rate. But the one time I go against people that do know how to use the rocket launchers, I'll probably lose every time with no chance of ever winning. And that's how it felt playing Demon. And I think that if Sledge played high-level Demon against this high-level team that I kind of go against sometimes, he'd understand how helpless you feel as everything got one shot in the Kandar update. Like an Ed with a white blunderbuss was one-shotting all my demons in one game. I had nothing I could do. I couldn't bait dodges with the Warlord units, at least back in the Kandar update, because a good hunter would just wait till he sees you swing, and then he dodges. And by the time it takes to me finally land any hits, guess what? They just heal that up. And they probably don't even get hit much to even need a heal. You know what I mean? Like, the point is that it would be a very frustrating experience of getting rushed, being low level, then you're under leveled at the dark ones in the book. You feel like you can't even do anything at the dark ones because you can't use your cooldowns as they also apply to the book near the end of the dark ones. So in the end, it feels like you can't even play the game, you can't do anything. That's frustrating. It's frustrating to lose because someone starts doing the dark ones immediately as you're banished from a blue objective and you're 800 meters away. And during Kandar, that's what happened all the time. And if you don't believe me, you can go to any of my VODs, and at least one or two times per night, it wasn't that I lost every time it happened. That's because the survivors usually didn't play that well. But like, if I play the game, most times during those games, you would see objectives right next to each other, like blue objectives right near each other, at least one or two times, almost every single night, sorry. Almost every single night, at least one or two of those games during my 7-hour streaming period, 6 to 7 hours, you would see that happening. It's very frustrating. Some games would be very close, and it's not because the games went to the book that the demons hated it or hated the experience. It's not that gameplay loop. It's they went to the book when it shouldn't have, when the survivors weren't even playing very well, but due to unfair things out of our control, like getting banished a million miles away, or, you know, parking cars nearby we desperately have to flip. He talks about flipping cars. One of the main reasons I flip cars is because, believe it or not, plenty of survivors out there try to block the book with it. And that's a very unfair situation where now the AI can't get to the book. And also, if you try to possess an AI or even your own unit that you summon, you might control the car instead because, no offense, the developers don't really have a good, precise way to possess what you want sometimes, even if you wait for the prompt and everything, which, again, you couldn't wait for because everything might die in one shot. So it was a different experience. And I think that if Sledge did play high-level Demon and he understood that frustration that it felt at that high level, it was not 50-50. It was not 50-50 due to the legendary RNG. Because as I said before, one of the most recent games I lost, where I felt like I could do nothing the entire game on the small map, the small old map for Evil Dead. I played Warlord, you know, who's like the best in the book and all that, and I got rushed with cars before I could even flip any. I could barely keep up in levels. I couldn't even do it. And as I got to the book, I was under level 20, so I didn't have, you know, the possession level I needed to survive anything. And everything was getting one shot with a white blunderbuss from Ed. So the weapon rarity is not exactly relevant, or it wasn't at least, in the pre-Kandar patch. Or in the Kandar patch, sorry. So him saying that, well, it's 50-50. If they get good legendary weapons, they probably win. If they don't, they probably lose. Well, no, it's not that simple at all. That's all I'm going to say. It's not that simple at all. That's not a fair way of looking at it, and just watching the Demon play and think that's what we want. Oh, now they're winning 99% before. Now they're winning 100%. Listen, if you're winning 99% against, you know, like if I'm winning 99% of my basketball games against, you know, a third grade class of kids that don't know what they're doing and they don't know how to play the game, so they're double dribbling and all this other, you know, stuff, and they're messing things up, and I'm getting a million penalty shots, I don't feel like that's winning the one time I go against someone my own age and actually knows how to play basketball and they just dominate me. That doesn't make me feel good at the game. It wouldn't make me feel good at basketball. It doesn't make me feel good at Evil Dead or any other asymmetrical, like Resident Evil Resistance that I used to play had the same problem where people would see me winning a lot. But then when I go against a team that knows what they're doing, I lose. They think, oh, it's the one time he lost. He's just crying because of that. It's really not. It's really because of how you lose, how you feel helpless, how you felt helpless at going against getting banished a million miles away. You can't do anything, but they could instantly start it. They could split objectives. Guess what? They tried to split objectives this patch. You know what happened? Because they didn't time it at the exact same time. When I lost one of the objectives across the big map, I got banished right to the other objective, and I was able to down the two warriors that were trying to speedrun the objective, sorry. And I downed them, and I ended up winning that game. If I couldn't have got banished there, I got banished in some random direction a million miles away, like 500, 600 meters, I would have lost that game probably, because I was way too low level, had no chance to defend one of the objectives until finally I got banished there. But thanks to the changes of the 2013 patch, part of it was balance changes because of that. That helped save the game. That's why it's the best patch. It's not the best patch because Demon's strong. That's a great side effect of it. Plague is really strong. People think she should be nerfed, but she's also really fun because I could put the little cauldron and block people in rooms while they helplessly can't get out because they put themselves in that situation and their teammates desperately can't get to them because they got to break the cauldron, and then I killed them. It's fun. It's actually really fun. That makes it's hilarious and it's fun. That's why my other video is about that, and it's enjoyable to play. It's enjoyable. Even Puppeteer, you know, one of the reasons he says Puppeteer is just too powerful and everything, that's what a lot of people are saying. Maybe so, but there's other ways we can nerf it besides the damage. If you want to remember back in the day after the before Kandar and everything, before they buffed the first time the base damage on Puppeteer, Puppeteer was the worst demon by far. After they fixed the Thunderstruck instant animation cancels, Puppeteer could just did hardly any damage with the basics. It would take a million running heavies to down anybody, and God forbid your AI walks into you or something when you're not paying attention and you do the normal heavy, so then you get that long freaking taunt of recovery that you can't control. You know, because like something like out of your control stopped you from doing your normal running heavy. Now they heal. Now it's like 2 minutes of work down the drain. It was so frustrating. It was just beyond frustrating. They couldn't break the book against a good team. It was almost impossible as Puppeteer. They needed the damage increase. They needed it. Now, did they need the increase to what it is now from Kandar? Maybe not, but it really didn't increase that much. I think For the Pride, who I mentioned before is a good demon, I did the math, and it's not even much of a difference. I forgot what he said it was. It's like, I think that's something like 20 damage more per heavy at the highest possession level or something like that if you invest in all the perks or something like that. I forgot. I don't know the exact math. I should for the video, so I don't just talk out of my, talk out of something I don't understand. But the point is that Puppeteer's damage had to be high or you simply couldn't win before. That was the main drawback. In fact, his power possess cooldown that people keep mentioning, guess what? Free Kandar, you could power possess something, and during the power possession, it already started the timer. and you could already get that timer to start at 62 seconds. So that meant that if you even controlled a power possession for like 10 seconds or 20 seconds, you were even faster of a recovery to the cooldown. Like it would be below 40 seconds if you had 20 seconds of controlling it. It would be below the 42 seconds that it is now. So you actually could get your power possession back faster pre-Kandar, and Puppeteer was still bad. I think people that don't main Puppeteer and don't know that won't realize that. The cooldown was actually even faster if you survived at all with the power possession. If you survived it all, if you didn't just run in there and die, and even wasted a little bit of their time, you would also make up that time to have a faster cooldown than they currently have now with the nerf. I mean with the buff, sorry. So that cooldown complaint, I feel like you need to look back. Guess what? They had a faster cooldown before, and it was still the worst demon. It was the worst one. There's some delusional people on Discord and Reddit that would argue with me, oh, I just don't know how to play it. But guess what? They buffed the damage on it for a reason for Kandar, and I guess they buffed it again for a reason. Point is, you can't just look at data and win rates as what makes the game balanced. I'm not saying you should just listen to the 1% either, because they could be stupid as well, including me. I could be stupid. I'm not denying it. I could have bad takes. But the point is, you can listen to that, test it yourself as developers. But the point is, Demon needs to be strong. Let me tell you something. Sledge keeps talking about, no offense to Sledge too, he's a great content creator. He's a nice guy. I'm glad that we I don't take any offense to him saying that, you know, I'm probably one of those top tier demon mains that just cries because he wants 100% win rate. I don't take any offense to that. I'm used to it. I'm used to people interpreting that, and I understand why they interpret it like that. But the thing is about the unfair experience, like I talked about getting banished so far and you can't even defend what you want to defend, and you're watching it get done. It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating knowing that you're playing better than somebody, that they're just not even dodging attacks correctly and stuff, but you simply can't down them because you're instantly stunned or something. Or that's how the balance felt before with the balance bars, by the way. It felt like you're instantly stunned, instantly dismembered from one swing, one horizontal sword swing. I swear to God, both my arms on a basic unit would be cut off sometimes. I don't know how. I don't know exactly how dismemberment works, but sometimes one simple swing and your arm was gone. On Necromancer at the book, that could mean you lose the game. Because if your basic unit loses that spear arm, you actually do no damage to that book. It changes your range for the book. It can completely just annihilate you. It makes your whole health perks, your balance perks meaningless. There is no dismemberment perk that you can have. There is nothing you can do except dodge every 3 seconds, just like against a balance build or something. You have no defense to skillfully counter that. It's frustrating. It's frustrating just seeing your arm disappear and you can't play the game with someone like Necromancer, right? Other demons aren't affected as much unless they lose both arms. But the point is, that's why that had to go too, because it wasn't fun or interactive, really. I think honestly dismemberment at the core is just not a good mechanic unless they make a good way to counter it for demon. There kind of isn't right now, besides your one dodge. But the point is, it's not about the 99% or the 100% win rate idea that people keep trying to make the argument. I've said it before, I was on the verge of quitting the game, because even with the quote 99% win rate, which I don't think it was, but let's say it was, I was on the verge of quitting because it doesn't feel good to win against people that don't know what they're doing. And then when they do know what they're doing, it feels like mentally you have no chance. He might think it was 50-50 because he just watched it. But until you play as it, until you're playing in that role and you understand how it feels like you can't do anything, you don't get like why it needs to change. You don't get why there's no... one thing he never talked about, he talked about solo queue survivors. Maybe I don't understand that. I've never played solo queue because I don't like slot machines. I don't like random luck on someone being AFK or healer not healing, hunter not dodging, melee warrior taking a hunter golden weapon. You know, I've heard it all. You know, there's nothing you can balance for that though. People are going to be stupid, unfortunately. That's life. That's what you sign up for when you sign into a random lobby of solo queue people. And my point is, he talks about that experience, how the majority of people that play the game don't play like sweaty, you know, demons like me or something. He didn't mention me, but let's just say I'm saying that, or sweaty demons, let's say, you know, top tier or whatever, or the survivors, right? It shouldn't be balanced around that. Well, guess what? Not every demon plays that sweaty or has no life like me. So what about people that want to play demon, want to try demon? How do you think their experience is, even with a max level demon, if they're first trying to play it? Do you think during Kandar, if anyone out there should think during Kandar they had fun, they are wrong. Most demons did not, unless they were delusional and they try to roleplay as some sort of dungeon master, like I saw some Reddit threads, you know, about, like, unless you're roleplaying as a dungeon master, telling yourself you're happy to lose, they were not having fun. It was frustrating. And if you don't know every little nuance to the game and how to avoid the taunt with Puppeteer's basic units and stuff like that, guess what? It's going to be a frustrating experience where everything gets stunned instantly. And then if you have no idea exactly the rotation to do with the book and have a build built for that, made for that, and you can outplay them there somehow and like barely make it, you're just going to lose every game. And it's going to be frustrating. And that's how it was for a lot of casual. This is who the game is supposed to be. Supposedly not made for the 1% like me. It's supposed to be made for the casual. What about the casual demon? Does anyone care? Apparently not, because they're not the majority of players. But let me tell you something. If you remember during Kandar, with the health of the game being the healthiest, how come the queues were so long for the West Coast USA? How come it was a 20-minute queue at times to get a game? How come even when they merged the servers, there was times where the queues were just like forever for Survivor? How come that was? How come that was the case? Why was that? You know what I mean? And I feel like there's only one way to explain that. It's because people didn't want to play Demon. And then you get the same pool of people playing Demon, who are going to be a smaller pool, but they're going to be more veteran players on average than the larger Survivor pool of probably random dumbasses, no offense. So then you're going to get a huge discrepancy if you just go off the win rates. Because how can you expect a group of dumbasses to win against someone that's a really veteran Demon if he's playing well? Like, that's unrealistic expectations. It's not fair. If they even had a hope of winning and they're playing completely wrong, imagine how a good team that's playing completely right would feel, and they'd be bored. And they were bored. I heard that. Even they were thinking about, even good teams that beat me were thinking about quitting because it was too boring. It was too boring when they won all the time. And guess what? Post-patch, they still win all the time. And I've had a close game even earlier tonight where I came down to the last like 15 seconds and I was Puppeteer, or like around there, like, and on the book. And I barely won that. And I won that mainly because I think they made somewhat of a mistake when I had the elite and I did a Thunderstruck that hit a bunch of people. I'm not going to go too directly, but basically it could have been either that. That's more of a 50-50 game if you want to say anything than it was just now. It's not just 100% win easy mode. That was a tough game that I had to try very hard in. And the thing is, you can't just look at the percent of winning and losing. I like to think that my skill has something to do with it. I like to imagine my skill level, my thought process, my decision making, the build I have, the plays I make. I like to think that matters, and that maybe even if they are a very good team or someone else is a very good team, they shouldn't just win because they're a quote good team. Maybe I can outplay them somehow, maybe there's some variables there. Like maybe I can play well. So that's all I wanted to say about the state of the game. I do think it's the best patch. I think because they fixed the cars blocking the book or being easy escapes to hold the Dark Ones hostage being gone. That's a great change. I don't have to worry about that. Yes, I still flip cars, but I even made a video saying that I don't want to be able to. That they can make it so that it could be like Kandar. You can't pre-flip cars, but at the same time, I don't want survivors rushing in cars, as well. And they can make it so that survivors need a little bit of pink F to do that, to drive cars, but only until they get the map pieces. But I have a whole video on that, and that once they got the map pieces, they can all drive automatically, whether or not they put pink F in. I had a whole thing about that. That way I'd be encouraged to find them right away. They'd be encouraged to actually be a little stealthy and rush the map pieces on foot. And all they would have to do is coordinate so the big map doesn't really, screw them. Losing in solo queue, what do you expect if someone's AFK or they disconnect or they quit or they crash on PlayStation? What can I do? You know what I mean? Of course, yeah, I'm going to lose, but that has nothing to do with the balancing. That has to do with the player behavior, not playing, utilizing their skills. So I feel like you can't balance towards that anyway. Why would you try? You know what I mean? Like, that's just going to ruin the game. So I feel like the high level, it's not like you're balancing for the high level, but the high level is representing fundamental problems in the game when people abuse things. When people abuse vaulting. How much of the majority of the people, try to vault a lot? How many of them try to go back and forth in windows? Not many. That's like 1%. Should they not have changed that? No, they should have. Because it was stupid. You know what I'm saying? How many players are duplicating Shemps, doing it perfectly in a way, MLG at the book, where they have Cheryl sitting there, outside the range of you hitting them, and they have 3 warriors body blocking perfectly in coordination. Maybe 1%. Maybe I beat 99% of people duplicating Shemps. That doesn't mean that didn't need to get fixed. So my point is that you can't go off the win rate. You can't just say that demons are crying about it. It's about how it feels. It's stupid that I have to deal with them getting to the book because they're duplicating Shemps. Or get to the book because I'm banished 5 million meters away. I have no way to even defend the other objective. And now they get all the way to the book now. That's why it was frustrating. It's not the same gameplay loop. It's a lot different now when you get banished right to the next objective. And you'd have to play the game to understand that. You'd have to understand that's where a lot of the frustration came from feeling like you're instantly stunned, instantly dismembered. It's not the same gameplay loop. It's just straight up wrong. It's not the same feeling. It feels more powerful now. And that's why it's more fun. So if they think it's just the win rate, if anyone thinks it's just the win rate for demons, I'm trying to speak on my behalf. It's not, okay? Whether or not I could win or not, it's about how it feels. I was on the verge of quitting even though I won most games in Kandar, so That's my take. That's my state of the game. I think it's in a very good state. Maybe some things need to be tweaked, like the AI aggressiveness on Puppeteer. Maybe something with the damage. But the thing is, if you lower the damage, we'll be back to square one, where Puppeteer was the worst because of his basics damage. That was the number one reason he was the worst. So that's why they have to be careful with that. Maybe they can give him more of a spike at the higher possession level and a little bit lower of a spike, lower possession level. Maybe that's how they could try to tweak it. I don't know. But overall, the damage should, stay relatively the same. And I hope that the game stays balanced like this. I hope the devs can weather the storm. And I hope people open their minds to understand how it really felt to play a frustrating demon world throughout Kandar. Thank you. That's the video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and do all that other bullshit. See you next time.